Hello, hello. Welcome to Klaus in Life, where we interview industry leaders who make an impact or have made a big impact on real estate agents. And today I have the pleasure to interview Hollie Kitchens. So let's get this started with our rollout, and we'll be right back. Welcome, Hollie. I welcome you to our show. Can you
Hi,
hear me?
I am so excited to be here and grateful. Thank you so much for having me on.
Awesome, awesome. Hey, Holly, you are what's called a branding strategist, and for some of our viewers, that probably doesn't mean a lot. Um, why don't you give us the rundown a little bit about you and what that actually means?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, thank you so much for again for having me on. I'm Hollie Kitchens and I'm a brand strategist. I help unknown entrepreneurs, specifically, a lot of my clients are real estate agents. I help them go from unknown to being known through various branding and authority building methods, such as podcast launching, monthly podcast services, content creation, social media strategies, content repurposing, things like that. So, I really will help somebody shine the best that they can and attract their dream client through going through an intentional pieces of authority so that they attract those people. So I guess saying all that, I'll share real quick how I got started. So back in 2010, I was on a real estate team called the J Kinder Real Estate Experts, which was a team led by a broker named Jay Kinder. And what I loved about being on the team is I got to play it safe, meaning Jay's face was on the billboards, Jay's face was on the signs, his face was on everything. And I really enjoyed having that kind of like that safety of not having my face out there and letting him be the one being known. But little did I know, though, at the end of the day, it kind of hurt me a little bit not putting myself out there as much as I should be putting myself out there and allowing other people to be branded. So fast forward to 2017, I wanted to get into e-commerce as well. So I started an online boutique and I did what any smart business owner would do, and that would be hire a coach. So when I hired my e-commerce coach, I wanted to look, around corners. I wanted to collapse time and learn lessons from a coaching perspective to help me have the best online storefront as I could have. So I was on a coaching call with him, and he had asked me a very simple yet powerful question. And that question was, what are you doing differently than Amazon, or what are you doing differently than Target? Both of those stores have Guns N' Roses t-shirts. Why would they go to your online only boutique and pay 3 times that amount of money for a shirt from somebody who they don't even know exists? And I think that's when it kind of really clicked for me that, I was the thing that Amazon didn't have. I was the thing that Target didn't have. And I think at that moment of time, I started realizing the importance of showing up and the importance of personal branding, because at the end of the day, people like doing business with people, not necessarily logos. And I found myself hiding behind a logo for so long that my dream client did not know I existed. And I think since that day of being able to understand, why we need to show up as business owners, I think it helped me kind of be more, get more excited to help other people do the exact same thing as I was doing. So stopping them hiding from behind a logo and really putting out intentional content to attract the dream clients that they wanted to work with. So I guess it's kind of like a really quick story of how I got into the business of branding, and then really kind of how I do it to help other people, especially real estate agents, kind of show up and be known as the go-to in the marketplace.
So that's very interesting. I think I'm in this business since 26 years, and I never thought about really branding too much. I always had enough business, I guess.
Uh-huh.
But looking today, if I think in the last 20 years, everything has changed. I think I remember back the time we had MLS books where people had to come to us, right,
Yeah.
to if they want to see a listing. That's not there anymore. So today they go online and there's
Mhm.
thousands of agents on there, and it has become more difficult to obviously acquire agents and competing with all those lead companies who take our money away. So if I would be a new agent or a newer agent in this market, I think would that help me to get my face out there versus doing regular marketing like just listed, just sold cards who have very little effect anymore.
I think the importance of personal branding to me, there's two elements of that. One is going to be unique combination of your skills. So, like as real estate agents, it would be like certifications, it'll be years of the number of business, it will be, things that kind of set you apart from the next person in business, right? But then also you have the personal side of it, which is going to be, what makes you unique as a person and as an individual. And I think now more than ever in the digital age that we live in, I think it's important, whether if you're a brand new agent or you're a seasoned agent, have been in the business for years, I think it's important to understand first and foremost, identifying your dream avatar client. So avatar meaning an ideal client persona. So, I'll give an example. When I was actively selling real estate, my favorite kind of people to work with was first-time home buyers. My least favorite types of people to work with was investors. And it's because I didn't want to drive around town in the triple digit heat showing, $40,000 homes to these investors, but I really enjoyed working with people and walking through the education process of purchasing a home. Versus there was on the flip side, there's a girl in the office who loved investors, right? So each person as a real estate agent, I think we have our own niche that we really enjoy working with. Obviously, we don't ever want to turn down business whenever it approaches us, but there is a type of client that we enjoy working with. Maybe it's luxury, maybe it's somebody who's upgrading, maybe it's somebody who's downsizing, whatever the case may be. I think the first thing to do when it comes to starting your branding journey as an agent, getting crystal clear on exactly who you love servicing, and then from there, reverse engineer your brand to appeal to that person. So if you're luxury, for instance, you would make sure you put on top quality, high luxury posts. You get featured in media about being a luxury agent. You go in and teach maybe courses and classes to other real estate agents, helping them with getting into the luxury market. That would be branding yourself successfully as a real estate agent because you're setting yourself apart. And we all know if you're for everybody, you're for nobody. So I think the first step, like I said, it doesn't matter if you've been in the business for years or you're just now starting out. I think it's getting crystal clear on who we want to work with and then really putting out that brand, that persona out there so that people are attracted to work back with us.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I assume that works for any kind of niche. If you're a residential or commercial agent, probably, or I actually, interestingly, I'm dabbling in commercial lately a lot more, and I don't see many commercial agents doing any branding or whatever for themselves. So I think that would be interesting to see. We touched a little bit on real estate agents. So you generally work for agents regardless of who they are associated with, I assume.
Correct. Yes.
So okay, well, I understand you also work with eXp agents. I'm with eXp, and would you have any opinion on what the difference is being an eXp agent or being with any other franchise if I would have to choose today where to go?
Absolutely. So I will say this, a lot of my clients are actually eXp agents as well. I'm licensed with eXp, but I will say what I enjoy the flexibility eXp allows agents to have within their personal branding. So we don't necessarily have to just say, oh, it's eXp, franchise, or it's eXp broker or whatever. At the end of the day, I get to say, I'm Hollie Kitchens. Here's my own brand. We're not exactly having to be tied and nailed down by a brokerage because as we all know, personally, I love eXp and I'm sure everybody that's with it, they've always had great experiences as well. But I will say this, at the end of the day, what are we doing to brand ourselves personally so that we stand out different than the next agent? It doesn't matter if they're the same brokerage or not. We still got to do a good job of showcasing our personality. And I will say that's one thing that eXp is amazing at, and it's allowing their agents to brand themselves and have their own personal brand within the company.
Pretty cool. So if any of our viewers would like to make the next step and contact you and say, well, let's talk to Hollie and see what she has to say. How can they reach you? Number one. Number two is, how would that look? The first, do you do consultations, or how does the next step look?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can just connect with me directly on all social media platforms. It's just at Hollie Kitchens. So you can see my name above my head there. So literally
Right.
at Hollie Kitchens on all platforms. I will say, yeah, the first thing would be to have a consultation. So we get on Zoom, walk through what's current branding looks like, if there's current brand, if not, what you want it to look like, things that of assets that are needed, such as like logos or maybe graphics, such as Facebook covers and LinkedIn covers, so on and so forth. So that would be the first thing. First thing would be a brand consult to kind of get assess where we're currently at, what assets are needed, and then from there it's a go time, and that's when we start working on the assets to help someone show up and have a true brand identity whenever they're posting online, so that they're brand consistent and their brand's cohesive across all platforms, as well as anything else like maybe on their website, a Google search, things like that.
Cool. Is there anything you would like to add to? I haven't asked you yet.
I will say this. I think one thing that people they get discouraged because they start with it off the cuff. They have a whole bunch of content. They're putting themselves out there, but I think people get so burnt out so easily. And what I tell people to this is, go through and pick out your perfect your profile, or I'm sorry, not your profile, your platform, that your avatars on it the most and that you're most comfortable with, because I think right now people get so overwhelmed thinking that they have to be on every social media platform, showing up all the time, having to produce all this content, and it's exhausting, especially whenever we're trying to run a business. And I think in order to avoid that over exhaustion of platforms, I would suggest, find one platform, put about 80% of your time into it, and then 20% into the other ones, making sure that
Cool.
all of your branding is cohesive across all platforms. So if you have a LinkedIn, you're not very active on it, making sure that at least your profile picture is refreshed, making sure everything's current and update, the correct brokerage is currently displayed correctly, your brand colors, your cover images reflect the same brand that's on Facebook, because it's super important for us to be cohesive across all platforms. But I will say this, it's super important for you guys to make sure that everything's updated and ready to go. And I would say a tip would be making sure you guys have all social media handles to be the exact same, so it's easy for people to identify you on platforms. So for instance, on mine, like I said, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever, at Hollie Kitchens. It's not at Hollie Kitchens 2003 on one and then at Hollie.kitchens on another. There's just one handle across all platforms. And I think that that's one thing that a lot of people forget is they have all these different handles and they have all these different locations, but it's so hard for people to find you across all platforms whenever you have multiple addresses, or it's hard for you to give them direction to where to find you. So I guess it's just kind of like a little tidbit on some tips on when it comes to showing up consistently. Pick that one platform, go all in, at least post one surface post a day. You don't necessarily have to post on your timeline every day, but maybe once you post on your story, maybe once you'll do a reel, maybe once you'll do an actual photo upload. It's just making sure we're showing up so that our audience knows that we exist. Because unfortunately, the reality is this: we have people that are way less qualified than us, but they're showing up more than us, and they're getting the clients that we should be servicing and helping.
That's so true. I always say I have no competition really, but I have 10,000 other agents around here
Uh-huh.
who I think, well, I don't say it. Anyway, I really appreciate that. I think the last tip was really cool with the different handles, because um, talking to other agents and sometimes looking somebody up, I find different
Uh-huh.
pictures, different endings. Sometimes I have to look, is that even the same
Yeah.
person? And I think that's super, super important. Well, Holly, I really appreciate you coming on the show. And anybody who wants to talk to Holly, go at Hollie Kitchens. You can easily find her. If not, get back to me. I'll give you the contact information and then we go from there. Thank you, Holly, for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.